Hello, my name is Markus Wiedmeier from Practice Innovation. Today I want to show you how to do your presentation with oXygen XML Author in future. George Bina from Syncosoft showed some incredible things with the current release of oXygen and XML practice here. One of these features are custom CSS pseudo classes. And I thought perhaps it's a funny idea to check if it's possible to do my presentation with oXygen. Today I want to show you the result of my investigations. If you know CSS, you know what pseudo classes are. oXygen provides a feature to add your own custom pseudo classes to your content. This means you can add functionality, perhaps with Java implementations, which identifies elements in your XML file and adds a custom pseudo class name to this element if the action was executed. So you don't need to change the content of your XML file if you want to react on any actions. It's only necessary to apply a custom pseudo class to the element, and XML itself is not changed. It's only in the runtime new metadata which is your custom pseudo class set. My topic today is not a publication process to PowerPoint, PDF, HTML file, 5 slides. I've some interesting stuff for that, and if you are interested in that, get in touch with me and I can show you something to that. Today I want to show you how to bring your XML content to a presentation format in oXygen natively, only with CSS configuration. Let me explain you what you have to do getting this run with your XML content. As oXygen is not PowerPoint, of course there are some differences, limitations and other possibilities you can have with this kind of presentation format. There are 3 steps you have to do to get this run. First is to implement an action which sets the pseudo class to an element. You have to develop an author mode operation with Java. This operation handles the setting of the custom pseudo classes. Next step is to configure 3 actions in your document type configuration. One is for starting the presentation mode, one is for moving to the next, and one for moving to the previous slide. Third and last step is getting access to these actions in your presentation with CSS configuration. First, let's see how to develop an author operation which does this. You have to derive from a class which is part of the oXygen Author SDK and is called author operation. Then you have to define an argument descriptors which keeps the parameters you can set in the oXygen document type configuration UI. And after that you have to implement the pseudo class assign and removement. Let's have a look at the code. I've implemented the class multi-toggle pseudo class operation. I need a multi-toggle because I have 2 kinds of elements. One kind is the element which is the active slide, and the other kind is the elements which are the slides which should be hidden at the moment. And so we have to define 2 XPath expressions. The first identifies the elements which should be shown, and the second one defines the elements which should be hidden in that context. If you have these elements found, you have to process that, and for each element you have to call the method execute and provide some parameters which pseudo class should be removed if available, and which pseudo class should be set if not available. If you have done this, you will get a jar file which can be added to the document type configuration, and you can add an action to the document type configuration. Here in the middle of the dialog you see the operation in my jar file. I included to this action. I gave it an ID, presentation, next slide, a name for that, next slide, a description if you want, and you can provide some icons. You see it here in the toolbar, the icons which are defined here. And I defined a shortcut F3 to navigate to the next slide. Then you have to define an expression in which context this action should be available, and you have to define the parameters for the author operations we developed before. The first gets the XPath expressions for the elements which should be visible. pi minus visible is a pseudo class I defined for visible slide elements, and the second one is the XPath expressions to assign a pi hidden pseudo class for elements which should be hidden in the current context. So if I press next slide, this slide is hidden and the next gets active. Now you have the jar file developed, you have the document type actions configured, the 3-1 for starting the presentation, moving to next and previous slide, and now you have to make it visible in this context to get this toolbar you see here, the gray toolbar I have. It counts the current slide and the sum of all available slides. It provides a previous slide action and a next slide action, and that's the that's the CSS you see here to make this visible in your context. So you have to say, okay, if you have a section element or a sample element which has a pseudo class pi minus visible, put a content before that element which takes the content slide, which have a fixed prefix. It counts the number of the current slide with this XPath expression and counts the sum of all available slides with this XPath expression. And then you add two buttons, one to navigate to the previous slide and one to the next slide. And the name you give here is the name of the ID of the document type action. So that's all what you have to do with some other layout CSS settings, but that's all standard CSS. So as this is not PowerPoint, of course you have another possibility. A few months ago I developed a functionality for cropping graphics and put callouts on the graphics and so on. So as this slide here is read-only mode, there are no changes, but I want to show you now how to crop this graphic with Inkscape. So first we have to set the edit mode here. This is also a cool feature in 15.2, the hover pseudo class. If you hover over an element, you can get some actions in here. So the next step is to mark the graphic, context menu, edit image. This image is wrapped in an SVG structure, and this SVG is opened in Inkscape, and there's a frame around the graphic. Mark the frame, and you can move the frame wherever you want to define the viewport of the graphic you want to see in your documentation. Say save and close, and the graphic is cropped as you defined in Inkscape. So I think it's cool stuff Synchrosoft developed in that version 15.2, and I hope you enjoyed these few minutes, and I have to thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Thank you very much.